For today's cup of coffee, I was waffling between topics, and I actually thought about doing as far as discussing Rocky Horror Picture Show and Youngest Kid, because I found just snippets, and then Youngest Kid showed me where they had redone it. It's an abomination.
I actually did watch the remake partially. And yeah, it's horrible.
God.
It's really, really bad.
Why would you mess with perfection? There is nobody that is ever going to outdo that original cast, and especially Tim Curry. I'm a very much fan of Tim Curry.
Yeah.
Anything, and we were talking the other day about people that had these very unique voices. Now, he is one of those.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's a very talented individual. But Kid wasn't quite comfortable with discussing Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Especially since I haven't seen the original.
And I told him, I said, it's like I questioned whether or not he was my child.
I've seen clips, if that counts.
Oh, no, you've got to see the whole thing. It's just, it is perfection. But we decided that we were going to discuss whether or not spiritual gifts and talents are supposed to be reserved for a select few. He's pondering.
I don't think that they should be limited to a select few. I don't think that's fair. I think everybody has abilities. It's just whether or not they're able to access them or not.
Exactly. And part of what got me pondering about this topic is where the world has gone totally insane. And instead of a sharing of knowledge, which it once was, it has become, people have become very, what's the word I'm looking for?
Dulled down.
Well, they hoard knowledge. This is mine. Stingy, that's it. This is mine. You can't have it. You can't share it. You're not one of us. Who the hell is us?
And I'll share it with you if you're willing to pay a price.
Right. Right. That, no. That is not how that works at all. And we've got a lot of people, the fact that most people in this area have Native American heritage, and that there was no one left to teach us.
Uh-huh.
And that's a very painful thing to a lot of us, because our worlds could have been very different. But you hear some of these people, it's like, oh, you can't do that because you're not showing me your dental records that proves your heritage.
Yeah.
And it's like somebody that Kid had seen was like, oh, you can't smudge your home because that's a sacred ritual.
No, you can't use white sage because that's a sacred thing. You can use any other sage for the most part. Just white sage is off limits.
Tobacco is a sacred herb. It truly is. And it's like, some of these people are making this stuff up as they go along.
I think they are.
Well, and it's just like if you've never heard of Styx Hex and Hammer 666, which the name sounds horrendous, but Styx is a political commentator, good guy, but he also he revises books that would just be lost. And he had a video recently that was talking about as far as the neo-paganism, and the people are making it up as they go along because a lot of these records have been lost for hundreds and thousands of years.
Yeah.
So, it's interesting. And for these people to come out there and try to gaslight someone else, you can't do this. Who said? Now, do I believe that there is a birthright element to things? Yes, I do.
I agree.
And in Scripture, that is it. Even as far as the Native American tribes, the ones that were the storytellers, what they would do, they would sort of the kids, they sort of interviewed them. They would watch which kids were able to tell the stories precisely, and they picked those kids to tell the stories to. Didn't mean that the other kids weren't good kids. They just didn't have the same memory skills.
Yeah.
And that's what our society is based on right now, is memory skills.
Which kind of sucks right now.
Well, since people have got, I think they said their memory was less than a goldfish at this point. Well, yeah.
I believe that.
Kid,
I strongly believe that.
the kid is struggling because we had to make it was a journey that was an hour and a half one way today.
I am running on 2 hours of sleep right now.
I'm doing pretty good because I'm used to it.
You got more sleep than I did.
How do you know? You weren't in there.
I can hear you.
I was up at 3 o'clock this morning drinking coffee.
Yeah, I know. I was up with you.
But you weren't drinking coffee.
No. I tried to lay my ass back down and go to sleep, and I was like, nope, this ain't happening.
But anyhow, back on the topic, because neither
It ain't
of
happening
us
tonight.
we've not taken our ADHD medication.
I don't have any.
Right, that's the problem. I've tried.
I got depression pills, but not ADHD meds.
That was what the problem is.
I got one crazy pill. I don't have all of them.
It's not a crazy pill.
Oh,
It's just sort of. But going back to the kids that were going to be the shamans and different things like that, these were kids that did have special gifts, and depending on which tribe and what they were doing and stuff like that. It wasn't that the children were born with these. I mean, they were born with some abilities, but not all of them. They taught them.
Mm-hmm.
Which means that different people that are willing to learn can be taught.
Yeah. Everybody is able... Well, I won't say everybody is able to be taught.
Some people don't want to be taught.
Exactly. Is the rain starting to clear up?
Maybe. But even within Scripture, you had, like, the prophets and different things like that. You had other prophets that taught the younger ones, as evidenced by Samuel, how to prophesy and what to look for and all that stuff. It's a mess. We're in a mess.
Yeah.
Even as far as when they demonized astrology. Now, astrology is one of the few things that I have never heard anybody say you can't learn this. There's a lot of people that tell you don't learn it,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm like, why? As evidenced by the Magi.
Because some things are apparently closed practices that we're not supposed to do.
But again, some of this stuff, we don't understand it, and we're making it up as we go along.
Yeah.
And
I think in a lot of ways they honestly have a lot of the documentation that was quote-unquote lost. I think they just don't want to share it.
well, that's where you get into the conspiracy theory about the archives at the Vatican.
Yeah.
So, and that the elite, they have the knowledge, they use the knowledge, but they don't want the rest of us to know anything.
They want to leave us in ignorance.
Well, they've done a good job.
Very much so.
Some people take their jobs seriously. But when these people do this stuff, and it's these kids usually, because they've been brainwashed, oh, you can't do that because you're not one of us, you're not one of them. And it's a matter of,
I didn't even...
yeah, kid's phone went ballistic.
Sorry, phone glitched.
I've lost my train of thought.
Closed practices, Vatican.
Anyhow, we're making it up as we go along, folks.
Yeah,
Oh, I know
that's
what it was. As far as those kids that they have no sense of who they are. They don't know their identity. They don't want to learn of other people's identity. course, we've got a world that's trying to strip everyone of their identity.
Yeah.
But the thing is that they don't understand, if they strip people of this superficial identity, what's going to be left is spirit. They can't strip somebody of that usually.
No, you can never strip anyone of their spirit.
And spirit is connected to source. Source is what, God.
Source is God.
All knowledge comes from God. So if God tells somebody, hey, use this herb to cleanse this home, and actually there is cedar wood in Scripture was something that they used to cleanse, that you put the wood in water, you let it soak, you took a feather, and then you sprinkled whatever it was.
Certain herbs or plants used as medicines and such like
Sure.
that, and they were very effective.
What is holy water? Holy water is a little bit of salt
It's literally
in water.
salt water, and it's blessed.
Absolutely. That means that the whole frequency of it has been changed. And we have known, even within Christian groups, the whole, you're not one of us.
That's why I don't like the Catholic stuff, because it's very cult-like.
Well,
and they do treat you like an outsider on purpose.
It's not just them, it's the Baptists, it's some of the Pentecostals. It's like, because you don't have the holy hag look, the dresses down to your ankles, the hair piled up on your head mile high because you're never supposed to cut your hair. We can speak on this because, we've been surrounded by them. We got family members like them.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the judgmental. And that's going on with all these groups.
And that's the
Judgmental.
thing. Jesus preached against judgment.
He did.
He who is without sin cast the first stone.
Yeah. I mean, if somebody's got negative behavior, you can judge that, because that is a matter of that the behavior is negative. But as far as judging the individual as to why they are doing the behavior, no, because we don't know what's going on in somebody's heart, their spirit, their mind, nothing like that.
Exactly.
So, point being, it's not a horrible thing. If you feel led to get a dream catcher, or if you want to smudge your home, or whatever, do it. Pray about this stuff and do it.
Uh-huh.
And we've caught a tremendous amount of flack in this area. I have, when I started, when God led me in the direction of the Hebrew roots. I mean, I basically was churched from several places. Churched means that they kick you out. Not physically, but they make it very clear they don't want your kind. And, God love him, oldest kid, had told church that he was attending that we celebrated Passover. And they basically told that kid not to come back.
Yeah, which hurt him.
Oh, it wounded him deeply. So, I mean, these people, now, do you think that God would tell you, oh, hey, this is something that Jesus did, but you can't do that? In fact, Jesus said, do this in remembrance of me. That was Passover.
Yeah.
But it's also the Sabbath.
Uh-huh.
But even within that, people are like, okay, are you Christian? Are you Jewish? And it's like, it's supposed to run together. It is one thing. One thing leads to another on that.
Hebrew roots.
So, and it's like, some of the hatred on some of the websites has just gotten, I mean, it's horrifying.
We're looking at you, BitChute.
Some of the commenters there, they're not, I don't know what their problem is. They're filled with hate. Don't know the basis of their hate, but don't pigeonhole people because one person did something. That doesn't mean that everybody else is going to do the same thing. See people as individuals.
Exactly.
And that's just like
treat others as how you want to be treated.
Right. And that's just because that you look at somebody and judge them by their skin. Don't assume that you know that person's heritage.
Exactly.
We come across that lots.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they don't even have a box to check for our for our category.
No, they don't.
So, you know, we're not totally Caucasian, not totally Native American. The Native Americans don't want to own us. The Caucasians, they're like, we don't care. You know.
Yeah.
So we're left hanging.
We are left hanging.
But don't tell people. It's like,
And if someone wants to explore a certain route of their bloodline, let them.
sure. Sure. If people want to explore different forms of spirituality, because everybody has their own journey, you know, I can tell you why I came to the conclusion that I did in my experience. I'm not forcing my beliefs on anybody. I'm sharing my beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and there are other people that, you know, shared their beliefs, and to learn from each other.
Exactly.
So, you know, that was like our little Muslim buddy that we miss dearly.
Sam.
Sam was great. We loved him. And it's just like, I told him one time, it's like love recognizes love.
It does.
And he was such a good kid. So they had, his business sent him to Mississippi. And like I said, if they would like to send him back, that would be wonderful.
Yeah. We
So,
want him back.
Absolutely. Don't tell somebody whether or not they can or cannot use a certain herb, whether they can or cannot wear a certain stone, whether they can or cannot wear a certain color. I mean, be real, people. Seriously.
Yeah.
Clown World. Kid showed me that there's a group, there's a subgenre that they truly identify as clowns.
Or they dress as clowns. I don't know if they identify.
I think that's 99% of the population right now.
It's called clowncore. I actually really love the aesthetic. I've always liked clowns.
God, no.
Mom hates clowns.
I do.
I've always liked them.
Mm-mm.
I never found them creepy. Even the ones that were intentionally creepy, they didn't scare me.
No, I don't. Mm-mm. No. We have enough.
You also hate ventriloquist dummies.
I
and
do,
most
because they
puppets.
remind me of clowns. That's why. I don't have as much of a phobia of clowns as I did when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I was truly terrified by them.
Mm.
Now I know if I need to, I could knock one down. So that gives me a sense of power.
Don't punch the clown.
It depends on the clown.
Don't punch the clown.
It depends on the clowns.
Don't punch the clowns.
So anyhow, explore. And don't tell other people that they can't explore, because all that's going to do is lead to rebellion.
Exactly.
So if you've had any supernatural or paranormal experiences, if you've had encounters with UFOs, aliens, cryptids.
Raccoons.
We've got raccoons. I don't think that's a cryptid. Those are pretty common
I don't know,
around
that's
here.
pretty close to a cryptid.
If you've had
Have you seen their hands?
experiences with altered realities with or without substances, or anything else that you would like to discuss, just send us an email at cupofcoffeewithscream@gmail.com, and you all have a wonderful, beautiful day. Be kind to each other.
Beware of the clowns.
Oh, screw the clowns.